This happened like 20 years ago, so the details are a bit hazy. I was in middle school, lived in an upper middle class neighborhood in a little New England town with virtually no crime. I had just started babysitting, had just taken a whole babysitting course at a local hospital. And after putting up some flyers, I got my first gig. It was at a house in my neighborhood, about a 5-minute walk from my house. They had an older girl who was maybe 8 or 9, and a young, toddlerish aged boy. Their mom was giving me a rundown of their routine and giving me a little tour of their house. We went into her son's bedroom, and she said something to the effect of, that's odd. Why is his window open? Quickly shut the window and seemed somewhat distracted from that point on. She hurried through the rest of the tour and then told me to hang out with the kids while she finished getting ready. About 2 minutes later, she hurries in and sort of hustles us out the door and outside. I'm pretty confused at this point, but being an awkwardly shy middle-aged schoolgirl, I just go along with it. Once we got back to the driveway, she pulls me aside, tells me that she went back to her bedroom after noticing the window was open and saw most of her jewelry was missing. Soon after telling me this, about 10 cop cars come flying in. Cops run up with the guns drawn, like bats out of hell. Cops tell me to leave, so I head home, pretty terrified. Turns out the burglar, who had broken in the night before, was still hiding in the son's closet. That was right next to where we were standing when the mom realized the window was open and something was off. I don't really like to imagine how that could have gone had she not noticed the open window and left me there for the night with her 2 kids. Needless to say, that was the beginning and end of my babysitting career. Okay, well, 2 times I babysat. Once with an actual baby, he was 1 at the time, and I house sat, puppy sat for a friend another time. I've done a few others, but my experience with the 1-year-old baby was the creepiest. The 1-year-old, I was friends with his mom and aunt, actually more of a friend of the aunt, and I was just visiting. The sister needed a ride and asked if I could stay to watch her kid, while my friend, her sister, drove her to get a few things. I said sure, mainly because she had already put him to bed, and it shouldn't be any work at all. This was around 7 p.m. They leave, and about 15 minutes later, I hear a thump. Now both of their rooms are next to each other, and my friend has her cat locked in her room, because her sister and I have allergies to the cat. Anyway, I just assume it's the cat, and continue to watch TV in the living room. Then 5 more minutes go by, and I hear another smaller thump. So I go and check on the cat first. I know, kind of a bad move. But I was thinking logically it was the cat, and I figured if I calmed it down, it would stop acting out and not wake up the kid. Well, I open up the door, and the cat is asleep on my friend's pillow. At first, I thought the little jerk was just pretending or something, and while staring at the cat, I hear the thump again. But this time, it's clear that it's coming from the other room, where the kid is. I immediately freak out, thinking the kid fell out of his crib or something. And before I could even close my friend's door, the cat freaks out and hides under the bed. And the kid in the next room starts to cry, which definitely makes me feel like he did fall. So I shut the door and go to the next room, open the door quickly, and he's standing up in his crib crying. I feel relieved he didn't fall, and I go to calm him down. Now mind you, for some reason, the electrical doesn't work so well in her room. The light switch doesn't work, so you have to turn on the floor lamp by hand. So I'm in a dark room with a crying baby. It then dawns on me, what the hell is making that noise? So I turn on the light and look around. Her closet is open, and some stuff seems moved around, but nothing that looked like it fell several times or anything like that. So I closed the closet, mainly because the kid was crying while staring at the closet. And being the horror movie geek I am, I was like, okay, closing the closet. He seemed to have calmed down. It took me about 5 minutes to get him back to sleep. I left the light on and the door cracked open so I can keep an ear out, but not wake him up myself with the TV on. Anyway, that lasted about 10 minutes. Then I hear another thump noise. I get up and peek in. The kid is asleep still, so I open the door some more and the closet is open. Now it's a sliding door closet, which isn't as creepy as a walk-in closet with an actual door. But closets in general are creepy, especially at night. My first instinct is to run, but I man up and go check out the closet to see what could have opened it or whatever. And nothing. I just told myself maybe it's a mouse or something. A big mouse that can open up the closet door. So like I said, I closed it up, checked on the kid, still left the light on, and went back to the living room. Not even 5 minutes go by, and he's crying. And there was no noise this time, so I figured maybe it was a normal baby cry, like the light was bothering him, or he peed or something. So I go in again. This time, the closet is only opened a little bit. I'm extremely freaked out. I've already texted my friend, telling him to get the hell back home now. So I go towards the closet door to close it. My hand reaches for the edge, and then I hear a small thump, and then one of those baby police car toys that have the siren sound effect, and it goes off in the closet. I opened it up slowly, and there it was, just going off. This kid is still crying his head off. I know for damn sure that his toy was not in the closet before. So I take it out, put it away, and close the closet door. I put the kid back to sleep and wait in the room with him. He didn't go back to sleep, but I can tell he tired himself out with the crying fit he had. He laid there staring at me, almost like, get me the hell out of here. I felt uneasy in that room, like someone or something was watching me, was pissed off, especially from the area where the closet was. So after about 15 minutes of waiting in that room, I stand up and start to head out. The light then turns off, which is odd since you have to turn it on and off manually because the wall switch doesn't work. I figured the bulb blew out or something, so I walk over using what little light the nightlight offered as a guide toward the lamp. After I got to the lamp, I heard the closet door sliding open. I don't think I've ever been so scared in my life. And my instincts kicked in to turn on the light, and I felt for the switch on the damn lamp to turn it on, hoping it would. And it did. Looking back, I was both relieved and creeped out that the bulb didn't burn out and that it somehow turned off by itself. Anyway, the light was back on, and I turned around, and luckily nothing, or rather I didn't see anything there. I grabbed the kid, shut the closet again, shut the door to the room behind me, and held him in the living room till his mom and my friend got back home. It was almost 9 p.m. At first, she was pissed that I took him out of his crib and that he was awake. But I was like, you need an exorcist or something to bless your house, because things aren't okay here. I don't think she really believed me. She said she noticed some small things happening, but nothing to that effect. This was almost a year ago, and apparently nothing that drastic happened again. Weird stuff happens to me and around me often. I've been told I was a magnet for these things before, so I'm not sure if whatever happened because I was there, or maybe I brought it with me, or activated it or whatever. They did do a prayer of some kind to try and bless the house. Maybe that helped. In high school, I regularly tutored an 11-year-old girl, and the parents had me babysit her and her twin a couple of times. One time, the parents were meant to go downtown to a game, then be back around 12. Around 8 or so, it started raining very heavily. I live in a Gulf city, and storms can blow in fast and turn into flooding quickly. Once it became clear we were in for a big storm, the parents tried to head home early, but the streets had already started to flood and they ended up trapped in a parking lot. The parents called, and we'd agreed I'd spend the night in their guest bedroom. I had the kids go to bed and set up in the kitchen to do homework and watch Netflix. After a bit of this, I noticed water seeping in from under the back doors. They had a large house with like 3 double doors to the back, so it was a shitload of area. I got every towel in the house, started wiping up the water and using the towels to block the door. After this had mostly been cleaned up, I went back to the kitchen table to watch more Netflix. Not even 15 minutes later, the power cuts out and all the lights shut off. This freaked me out a bit, but I tried to stay calm. Then, the burglar alarm went off in the other room. I pretty much shit myself. I was in a pitch black house with 2 kids, surrounded by flooding roads no one can drive on. After a minute, I realized I was the closest thing in the house to an adult, so I grabbed the biggest kitchen knife and went to go check all the doors. They were all still closed, and no one was in the house, so I called the parents. It turns out the alarm went off when the power cut out, and I just needed to shut it off with a code upstairs. This happened about 3 more times over the next few hours. After the power came back on, I thought things had chilled out, but then we got a tornado warning. I went and got the kids from upstairs, and we all hung out in the study room for about an hour until the warning passed. At this point, it was about 2 a.m., and I had passed out in the guest bedroom. The parents woke me up when they got home around 7 a.m., and I drove home past giant fallen branches and stalled abandoned cars. It was surreal.